Moving right along to explain 2, solving cube root and 1/3 power equations for example 2. So here we have a problem, a cube root of x plus 2 plus 7 equals 5. So the first thing we're going to do, just as it says here, is to isolate our radical. So we're going to get rid of what's being added. What's the opposite of adding? Subtracting. So that would cancel out, and I'm left with the cube root of x plus 2. And what does 5 take away 7? -2. Just as it says here, we're going to cube both sides. So we're going to raise this side to the 3rd power and this side to the 3rd power. What that's going to do is it's going to cancel out our cube root. So I'm left with x plus 2 equals, what is the cube, or -2 times -2 times -2. What would that be? And that would be -8. And what's the opposite of adding 2? So we're going to solve for x next. That would be subtracting 2. So what would x equal? -10. Not too bad. I kind of like cube roots. They're not too bad. Let's continue on. We're going to continue with explain 2 part B. Okay. So we have our problem listed above. What we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and cube root both sides, just as it says here. So I'm going to raise this to the 3rd power and this side to the 3rd power. And what that's going to end up doing is it's going to cancel this out. So I'm left with x minus 5. Now with this one it's a little bit more difficult because I'm essentially multiplying x plus 1 times x plus 1 times x plus 1. So if I FOIL this out, that would be x squared, right? That would be 1x plus 1x times 1. Alright, and that would be x to the 2nd power plus 2x plus 1 times x plus 1. So I can multiply these two together. I'm going to do that off to the side. I know this was a while back, but we can go ahead and multiply this out. So x to the 2nd power plus 2x plus 1 times x plus 1. So that would be x to the 3rd power, 2x squared, 1x, 1x squared, 2x, and 1. So if we combine like terms, I know this was a while back, but it's a good review of FOILing as well as multiplying a binomial by a trinomial. That would be on one side the same thing, but this would be x to the 3rd power plus 2 plus 1 is 3x squared, and then 1 plus 2, that'd be 3x, and then 1. The next thing they're going to ask us to do is to move all terms to one side of the equal sign. So we're going to move this x over here. What's the opposite of a positive x? -x. So that cancels out, and I'm left with -5 equals x to the 3rd power plus 3x squared minus 2x plus 1. And then what's the opposite of a -5? Positive 5. So that would be 6 on one side, 0 on the other, x to the 3rd power plus 3x squared minus 2x. So on here, we're going to go ahead and see if we can factor. So they give us a little bit of a hint that some of these things have something in common. So for these first two terms, they both have a x to the 2nd power in common. So we can take that out. and that would be a, sorry about that. That would be an x left over plus 3. And for 2x and 6, they both have a 2 in common, so if I divided out a 2, that would be x plus 3. You'll see they both have something in common. In fact, here they have an x plus 3 in common. So I can take that out. And I'll set each one of these equal to 0 and see what I get. So we can solve out the easier one, x plus 3 equals 0. Go ahead and solve that out. You should have gotten x equals negative 3. And x squared plus 2 equals 0. We're going to see if we can solve this out. It's the opposite of adding 2. Subtracting 2. So that would be negative 2 equals x to the second power. We'll go ahead and square root both sides. And that's left with, ooh, if you try and calculate that out, can you square root a negative? No. So this will actually not be a solution. Our only solution will be x equals negative 3. So as you can see, some are simpler than others to solve, but take some time to do the problem in your packet, which I believe is this problem number 8. So take that time to do that. All right, we'll come back to explain 3 in just a little bit.